Welcome to Scrum Tips. This episode of Scrum Tips is brought to you by Sonic Agile. Sonic Agile offers online Scrum project management. To learn more, visit www.sonicagile.com. So, the topic of today is, what is a daily Scrum? So let me start by asking you, Ruth, what is the Daily Scrum?
The Daily Scrum is a meeting that's scheduled to take place every workday, and it should take about 15 minutes or less. At the Daily Scrum, the developer team coordinates their work for the day, and they do that by answering only 3 questions. Kind of try to stay on topic with these 3 guiding questions. So the questions are, what have I done since yesterday? What am I going to be working on today? And whether or not anything is blocking me. That is, stopping me from doing my work. If you happen to be doing this in front of a Scrum board, you can point out your task, or if you're using an online tool, you can use the task number to reference the work that you're doing. And that actually saves a lot of time because the developer doesn't have to go into a lot of detail explaining, what task they're talking about. And at the same time that the developer points out what task they're working on, they might update their time estimates if the team is using time estimates to calculate remaining work. If you're using an online tool, then those estimates are automatically tallied and your burn down chart gets automatically updated. Otherwise, somebody on the team is usually appointed to do those updates by hand.
So why limit the Daily Scrum discussion to just those 3 questions? I can think of all sorts of interesting questions I might want to ask every day.
Yes, usually there is something else to discuss, but the reason that you keep the Daily Scrum to just those 3 is to keep that meeting really short, make sure that everyone attends it and knows, what to expect before they walk into it. If there are other things that developers need to talk about, often it's something that just a couple of developers might need to talk about. And what they do is they meet briefly after the meeting to do that meeting. And it's also really useful if you're always meeting at the same time every day, then everybody knows that that's a great time if they haven't done it sooner to be able to talk. So the point is to keep the Daily Scrum really short and to really expect that everyone will attend. But people won't attend if you let that meeting drag on.
Now, is it important to have the Daily Scrum at the same time every day, or can we, switch it up?
Well, the whole point of routines is to make things automatic, and so I recommend having it at the same time every day. But you can have that meeting at whatever time works for your team. Some teams have it in the early morning, some people have it right before lunch, and some people even have it at 9 o'clock at night if they're working on a distributed team and they're coordinating their efforts with people in other countries. It is important, I think, to have it at a consistent time and that people are punctual about when the meeting begins and ends.
All right, but do people really have to stand up during this meeting?
Standing up, the purpose of the stand-up meeting is to keep the meeting really short. So I think that the bigger issue there is keeping the meeting short.
So to summarize, what's the Daily Scrum?
The Daily Scrum is a 15-minute meeting for the developers to coordinate their work. This brings up something actually important here. It is not a status report for management. It's a meeting for the developers to coordinate their work with each other.
Can the managers be there?
That's a tricky question because, again, it is really about the developers coordinating with each other. And so it depends on the dynamic on your team. Some teams would say, of course, the managers should be there. But what's really important is if you find that the team is sort of reporting out to management, then you'd actually be better off if you sort of like appointed somebody else to run the meeting and made yourself absent. The problem with that is that you can get people, before the pattern is established, people do tend to want to sort of get off topic of the 3 questions. So it's really important that you stay with the 3 questions. But the whole point is that this is a meeting for the developers to coordinate with each other. So as long as you understand that part and that is what's really happening, then that's what the meeting is all about.
So who runs the Daily Scrum?
The Daily Scrum ideally is ran by the developers themselves. So if you have a Scrum Master on the team, the Scrum Master can get it going, like, I don't know, for however long, making sure that they stick to the 3 questions. But once the team has sort of internalized the pattern, then they can just meet, quickly report out on those 3 things, and be done. One of the reasons it's nice to have a Scrum Master at the meeting is because the Scrum Master is responsible for removing any impediments that are surfaced during the meeting.
That sounds great. Well, thank you very much.